What would you, to the Muslim youth of today, from the experience of the transformation, what we know of how the society transformed and Medina, starting with you with Dr. Seyyed Hossein Nasr, what would you say to the Muslim youth? How would you, in this world with a different current pressures and influences on the Muslim youth, what would be your advice, Dr. Hossein Nasr?
We're all concerned with our youth and live in exceptionally difficult times when on the one hand you have really the solution of modernism which dominated over the world for so long, combined with the weakening of the traditions which resisted those modernistic trends, combined with the destruction of nature and the environment. The youth feel all of these much more than we do. A 10-year-old boy today is not even sure he's going to be alive when 60 years old, what the earth will be like, whether there'll be oxygen for him to breathe or not, in a very difficult existential situation. And the first thing that we can do for the youth is, first of all, to give a positive appraisal of this very passing and brutal nature of the world, that the world is transient, that the spirit is real, to emphasize the spiritual aspect of the human being and of life, of confidence in God, is on the one hand very difficult now to draw the young to traditional religious norms. On the other hand, it's very easy because the world is so much more precarious and dangerous than it was generations of old. It's lost so much of its attraction. That's why so many young people are lost, even those who don't turn to religion, they have nowhere to turn to. And so our role, I think, should be, most of all, to bring out the teachings of Islam in such a way that they're both authentic and pertinent today. I'm against all modernism, as you know. I'm a traditional Muslim. I've written 60 years against this, but I know the modern world. I've studied it. I know a little bit about it. We need to be able to present Islam as the rope that saves in the middle of the storm, but it's in an authentic fashion. The passing fashions of the day that come and go, which so many young people are infatuated with, they're not going to solve anything. So we have two lessons to teach. On the one hand, to show what really the nature of the fads of today are that attract the youth, how passing they are, how insidious they are for the health of our souls and that of our children. And on the other hand, the ever-abiding reality of Islam, which has always been there, and for which the Prophet serves as the perfect model. In the second issue, we have a problem because a lot of people speak in the name of Islam without really practicing the virtues of Muslims, without really being Islamic. It's much worse than Marxism in a certain sense, which attacks religion. It's much better to attack religion than to try to emulate it as a caricature, making use of its name and its fame and its importance, but distorting it. But we live in such a world. We need more than talk. We need a reality of existence. We need people who can act as examples, from sportsmen to intellectuals, from writers to inventors. In every domain, we need people as models who are devout Muslims, who are dedicated really to the teaching of Islam and the Prophet, who at the same time love their society, love their fellow men, women, and the rest of nature, who are at the same time concerned with what concerns the young. I keep coming back to this world of nature. I'm the first person to have written about the environmental crisis, long before Lynn White or anybody else in the 1960s. And Dr. Becker here worked with this on this issue, is the first in the Malay world to have done that. This issue is the key to the life of the young, because if there's not going to be the future, why do all this talking? We need to have this idea of tawakkul ala Allah, that God takes care of his creation, and we are the Khalifatullah fil ard, given by God the duty to protect and to care for creation. How many of you know families, even in the West, where a 10-year-old knows more about nature than his 50-year-old father and criticizes his father and mother for being indifferent? This is the day in which we live. We have a very, very rich tradition of the Islamic world, and many young Muslims can be brought back to the other aspects of Islam, which alhamdulillah is still alive, as some of the speakers pointed out, by showing them that Islam contains the solutions to the most urgent problems of our day, which they do not think are the question of riba and things like that. The question of the air they're going to breathe in a few years, the water they're going to drink, and every practical thing of this kind. So we have a tremendous resource to draw from, but sometimes tremendous responsibility to draw from it. Your Excellency, I know this is also a subject of your concern in Pakistan, because I've read some of the things you've written and said that here and there, unfortunately not all. But a country like Pakistan, which is like my own country, if it doesn't pay attention to such issues, the next generation is not going to be able to live. Same with Iran, my own country, or any other country. I'm not trying to point Pakistan out as the only country. And we are the heirs to civilization, which was always based on harmony with God, harmony with the world, harmony with heaven, harmony with earth, in which all of Islamic city planning, architecture, everything, and both had a religious character and was sanely balanced environmentally. What have we done with it? We have to revive this, and we have to revive this on the basis of faith. And if we present these things to the young, they'll listen to it. I've had 60 years of experience of teaching in my own country, Iran, and the West, and other Islamic countries. And I know that once you talk about matters in this way, that is contemporary and understandable, a lot of people will listen. People are not interested in fine points of law, which the Talaba in Cairo had to attend to learn if you learned centuries ago. That's sacred and very important. That should be there. But we need actually to bring out these issues. And Your Excellency, I don't want to just to talk about Pakistan, but you're one of the very few Muslim leaders who is aware of these issues. Why don't you make Pakistan a place where meetings such as this take place regularly, where leaders even of young people who are interested in these things are brought to discuss these issues, and it will spread. There's no other place in the Islamic world which does it. No place. And inshallah, gradually this awareness will increase. As some of our speakers have said, the solution is not an immediate 24-hour engineering solution. It will take longer time, and I repeat, and I will end with this. The fact that a sitting prime minister of a country who's usually, like every other country, concerned with what's going to happen tomorrow, is now also concerned with what's going to happen after tomorrow, is a very good sign. That's a very, very good sign, and let's follow it, inshallah.